Yeah, Nazis are pretty f***ing gay.
Yeah.
Lady and the Trans podcast. Where we believe in science. We don't believe in God. Only science. Science will solve all the problems. That's the trans agenda.
Trans people in science gonna save the day.
Solve the problems with us. With science. Science, bitch.
Science and my trans agenda, I'm returning trans.
Welcome to Lady and the Trans podcast.
Welcome to Lady and the Trans podcast. And today, well, we're going to talk about why it's called the Lady and the Trans podcast.
Yes.
Because we keep getting questions, especially from very young trans people.
Yes, and some of them are angry at me specifically because
They seem to mostly be angry at you specifically.
and I didn't even come up with the name.
I know. So let's be real here. I came up with the name because it's a cute little pun based on an old Disney movie, and for many complicated reasons, I wanted the title to not imply that we were going to only talk about trans stuff, but I wanted trans to be in the title because that is going to be a large part of what we talk about. And I didn't want it to necessarily include our names because when we first came up with the title, we were also not going to reveal our true identities.
Yeah, we were going to stay anonymous for a while originally. Yeah. That clearly didn't last long, but
Once we switched to video, it was like, well, it's going to be a lot harder. But obviously our first few episodes, if you watch on YouTube, are just audio with like a photograph. So, but yeah, once we figured this shit out. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on a broader range of what we're going to talk about on the show. And I like the fact that if you take the lady or the trans out of the title, it is still a pretty decent name for the show. Like you could just call it the Lady Podcast.
we could do that.
Right? You know,
That has to have been taken.
It is. That's the thing. So, because like we're both ladies.
Yes.
We talk about feminist issues and women and women's rights and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I am a trans person, and we both have online personas where we talk about trans rights and support trans people, and we focus a lot on trans-related issues, especially episodes that are going to come out after this. Like, several of them are going to be about trans shit. So you could also just call the podcast The Trans Podcast.
Yeah.
Like, you
If
could
you
call
wanted
it
to.
The Lady Podcast, or you could call it The Trans Podcast.
Or we could just call it The Podcast. It is the podcast.
But instead, it's both. It's the Lady Podcast and the Trans Podcast. But if you drop the podcast and just say the Lady and the Trans Podcast, it sounds like you're saying the Lady and the Tramp, which is, the dogs that everybody loves, because I love dogs.
We could have just been the Tramps.
We could have just been the Tramps, but
We both do ho shit sometimes.
For SEO purposes, I want people to be searching the word trans or searching the word lady, and we come up either way.
Yeah.
Right? So, I was thinking about this from so many angles, one of which was SEO, one of which was, what's a sort of catchy name, and what's something that cis people might click on.
Yes.
Because if I chose a title that trans people specifically would like, I don't think a lot of our episodes are going to be that helpful for people who already know that they're trans.
I agree.
You know, most of the stuff we're going to talk about is stuff that y'all already know. So I wanted it to be something that cis people would be like, oh, that's funny. Haha, I'll click on it. And because they don't know. They don't know. But the other thing, if you see the title and you assume that we were referring to Laura as the lady and me as the trans, you're the one being transphobic.
Yeah.
Not us. You're the one who assumed she's lady, I'm trans, therefore I'm not lady. That is in no way what we meant. We know we're both ladies.
Yeah, we did have that joke for a while where it'd be like, oh, I'm lady, and then you'd go, and I am trans, as a little joke.
And then a couple times we switched it.
Most of the people complaining about it, though, aren't watching our podcast. It's people on TikTok.
Yes.
But
Yeah, if you just engage with our like actual content, like there's no way you would watch it and be like, "Oh, these people are transphobic." Like it's just people who see the title and then refuse to listen to the show because they assume it's transphobic because they think I'm referring to myself as the trans rather than a trans person, which I am. And I guess I can see how you would get there, but it was in no way the intention, and I still like the title. Like, like I like it.
And I had a couple of my followers on TikTok that had, in one of my comment section were like, oh, we think this is kind of a problematic title. And I was like, well, my best friend who's on the show came up with the title. And they were like, oh, well, sometimes trans women also have internalized transphobia, which is fair. But I talked to you about it after that conversation. And like, you were like, no, that's stupid. I'm not changing it. Like, and then I'll still get flack from people. And I'm like, look, I'm cis. I am not going to tell a trans.
Internalized transphobia because I'm not calling myself the trans.
Yeah. And also, I'm not going to tell I'm not going to tell trans people how to feel about things they came. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what some people were asking me to do. Like,
That's exactly what they're asking.
It was just.
Yeah. They're like, you need to call out your trans friend for being transphobic for the title she came up with for the trans podcast y'all are doing.
And when I've had a talk with you about it and you were like, no. And it's just like, do you want me to like get on her ass and be like, no, I'm not going to tell her how to feel. Like, and I would tell people like, I'm like, talk to Chloe about it. But
honestly, I think that like some of the people who are complaining are young enough that they've never heard of The Lady and the Tramp.
That's the other thing.
They might like literally not get the pun.
Because that one girl that was complaining too said the whole, and I'm like, because that was an older Disney movie, right? It's like,
one of the older ones, yeah. I mean, and like honestly, I don't think Disney would be proud to showcase it because it opens super racist.
Does it? I haven't seen that since I was a little kid.
Do you remember the Siamese cat song?
Oh yeah, you know what? You told me about that the other day and I was like, "Oh my god." And I remember the song and it was it was pretty racist.
It's deeply racist.
It was,
honestly, and like I'm not
When did that movie come out?
It has to have been the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, I mean, people were hella racist back then. The 60s and 70s people were hella racist.
I'm pretty sure it was the 70s. I think maybe it was the early 80s, but it was like it's older than I am. I don't know. I guess there's probably a lot of people who literally don't watch movies in the first place and then also these days would not have heard of a movie from 50 to 60 years ago. Yeah. Even though it's a classic. People our age get it.
Yeah.
People our age and older all get it.
Anybody there were some people that didn't have like a profile pic. There was like 3 or 4 people in one of my comment sections, and I think a couple of them didn't have a profile pic, but the one girl in particular, and I like her. Will like she'll kind of she's very vocal about if she doesn't like something I do, and we'll like have a conversation about it in the comments. But the other 2 people, like I don't know how old they are. She seems like she might be pretty young too. So yeah, there's a lot of things, but
there's a lot of factors going into it. Somebody literally referred to the title as diabolical. I was like, you're definitely missing something or misjudging or mischaracterizing and like whatever. That's on you. Yeah. Like that's not on us.
Yeah. This is the other...
It's not my job to make everyone feel safe and comfortable at all times, no matter what.
Yeah. And also, like what you were saying about how we really want to reach cis people that don't know anything about gender stuff. That's why we decided we wanted to refocus a lot of our content right now towards specifically gender dysphoria, intersex people, things of that nature, because
things most people don't know.
There's a lot of propaganda out about trans people right now. It's very harmful. You guys are being labeled as terrorists. Their supporters are being. I'm basically a terrorist too because I'm very loud about it on the internet.
They're saying anyone who protests ICE is a terrorist.
So, like, we're all terrorists, basically.
They've basically
it's just fear mongering. They're just trying to scare us into stopping, and it's not going to stop me. I don't give a shit.
But like literally everyone who isn't a MAGA person has been labeled a terrorist,
which is the majority of the country.
At this point, become a completely meaningless
Anybody
term.
that doesn't like Trump and the Heritage Foundation, basically.
Kash
But
Patel is a fucking idiot.
oh god, they're all fucking idiots. Every one of them.
I know. I
It's
can't wait to watch them all go through Nuremberg trials v 2.0.
Seriously, I can't wait for the day when it is socially unacceptable to admit you were MAGA. It's like the equivalent of being like, I was a Nazi during Germany in the 30s. Like, I can't wait to be at parties and everyone starts talking about it, and somebody who definitely voted for MAGA is like, oh, I wasn't with it either. And then somebody's like, yeah, you were. And they just have to like live with the shame and get kicked out of the party. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for it. I am here for it.
Yep.
But I digress. I want us to reach cis people that don't understand it. And even outside of it, when we do an episode that has nothing to do with trans people, I want people to watch our show and like, because watching a podcast is like being involved in a conversation but not saying anything.
Yep.
You know? And
then you do because you leave comments.
Yeah, exactly. But I want people to watch it and them see you and get to know your personality and love you and go, oh, maybe trans people aren't these batshit crazy freaks that we think they are, because you're a very likable. You're more likable than me for sure. You know what I mean?
You say so.
I'm fucking annoying, okay?
Oh, all right.
I've been told my whole life. I am aware. But like, if that title gets people talking about it and it attracts people to it, to watch it, especially people that might be ignorant about trans people, I think that's fine. I can take
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, there's no press is bad press, right? That's what they say. And I think it's true. If people are talking about how you're a piece of shit and someone's never heard of you, they're like, who's a piece of shit? And then they look into you and then they figure out for themselves.
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, maybe some people are doing this, but like, when I see somebody like going, this person sucks, I hate this person so much, my immediate response is not to go, I hate that person too, then. It's always like, who the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
So like, and then I'll go look, and then maybe I will be confirmed in being like, oh yeah, that person was right. This person sucks.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, the person who said that sucks because this person rocks. You know, it's gone both ways. And sometimes I'm like, whatever, I don't care about this person at all. That person is overreacting to something that doesn't matter, and therefore I don't have to take either of these people's opinions seriously, and I'll move on with my life.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. Maybe the way the internet is like everyone's been so siloed that like if one person is like, this person sucks, like everyone who follows them will be like, well, then I hate them too. But I have more faith in people than that. Despite how segmented and, you know, insular all of our online communities have become, I believe people are more thoughtful than that.
Yeah. The other thing too is when we were talking about it yesterday, like, I was telling you, I'm like, if I'm going to get flack from people on the left and they're going to be mad at me and blame me for the title of the show, even though you came out, like, I can take that all day. That's fine. Don't like me because of something you don't know anything about. That's fine. Just hate me. I don't care. I think it's important that these topics get out there. And I'm not going to tell you what to think about the name of our show that you came up with.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I don't care how mad people get at me about it. Like, I am not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I came up with much more offensive titles.
What were some of the other names we were
At this point, I don't remember. Like, when we were spitballing ideas for titles, it was like 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half. Maybe it wasn't 2 years.
It was more like a year and a half.
And a half. It was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And like, I came up with a short list of like 50 titles. And then I pitched maybe 10 of the ones that I thought were the best to you. And then we kind of talked about it and we thought about it. And then I think like Lady and the Trans wasn't even on the initial short list. Like we just were talking about all the titles and being like, this one doesn't work. This one might be interpreted the wrong way. This one might be offensive. Like, it's hard to name a podcast because there's already a million podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, several of my favorite titles were already taken. So that's the other thing.
You know what's funny about the Lady and the Trans podcast name? The Instagram, the reason we have an underscore on our Instagram handle is because two people tried to make the same podcast with the same podcast title already, and it was on Instagram. And it's like a blank account with like a picture of these two girls. And that's it. That's like, you know.
Yeah. So we're not even creative, apparently.
Yeah, right?
We're not even original.
No ideas are original, but yeah, and like if there's a transphobe that like finds the podcast and even in their head for some reason we're finding it offensive towards you for some reason, which I think it's really only something that people that are left leaning might take that way, but if they were to, I feel like they'd be more likely to click on the podcast and listen to what we have to say, if it were to be taken that way.
I don't think if trans is in the title of the show, I don't think any transphobic person is going to listen regardless. Like, the only way we're going to get those people to listen is if we manage to post a clip that goes viral enough and they don't realize what's happening because the clip starts on you and, like, they're just engaged in the content and then it cuts to me and they're like, well, I don't know who this person is, but I guess they're saying some pretty smart stuff. Like,
yeah, like I was agreeing with the cis girl first and then,
right. And and that's why I still want to do episodes where we don't talk about trans shit, because we might be able to pull clips that could potentially rope in people who aren't like.
Yeah, that's the thing I was saying though. Like even the stuff where we don't talk about gender dysphoria and all of the other things, I want, even on other topics, like people to watch the show and they see you and go, I think that's a trans girl. I've never actually just watched a trans person talking about something not related to that, because a lot of trans people online are fighting for their lives, which is understandable, but it's so rare to find just regular content from a trans person, because right now their rights are, it's a battlefield out there for that. You know what I mean?
But and as a trans person who's just like a math tutor,
yeah, and like, just
most of my personality is not about being trans.
It's about playing Magic and looking up stats and shit, nerd.
Yeah, literally. I just do research and I learn things. My whole personality is about learning. And with my students, like, nobody's ever mentioned my gender. It's never come up. Yeah. I've never mentioned it. My students have never mentioned it. They gender me correctly, which is wonderful.
Yeah, because it's not that hard. You're just a person. It's really not.
But we never, ever talk about it. Ever.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, when we're making content and I'm like, I'm talking so much about trans shit, it feels weird because, like, I basically never do.
Yeah.
Like for 90% of my day, every day.
You're just going on about your day.
I don't talk about gender at all.
That's how it should be.
I know.
We shouldn't have to talk about it at all. Imagine a world where you could just interact with people and it doesn't come up.
Yeah. Where you just
it's not that
actually
hard.
Got to know me as a person and actually like got to know like what's my deal? What am I about? What do I like? Like,
yeah.
What kind of a person am I? Is so much more important than what category of person did fascism decide to put me into so that you could hate me in a specific way.
Yeah.
Like,
I think there's way more interesting things about your life story than the fact that you're trans too. And it's
I would agree.
We never get to talk about it on this show hardly at all because, right now it's everyone's fighting for their rights right now because it's all under attack. But like, especially trans people, they are getting the worst of it.
So like, what's more interesting about me than being trans?
The cult.
The fact that I was in a cult.
That was a pretty fucked up, crazy story.
Pretty fucked up. I didn't love that.
Bitch, you were in a fucking frat. That's crazy.
I was in a frat.
You were in a frat. Yeah. I can't believe they let you in sometimes.
If they weren't hurting for numbers, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I believe that.
And also it was like, we were known on campus as being like the frat where all the like people who couldn't fit in anywhere else kind of went. And so we were just like a disparate collection of like closeted people, openly gay people, like weird misfit toys, we were just an assortment. We were an assortment of strangos. I
think that's every frat for the most part, but there's also the like stereotypical like
all the other frats on my campus, like I wouldn't have been able to tell you the difference between any two of the guys. Like, because I went to a couple of their parties and like I would meet like 6 different guys who were all like, yeah, this is my frat, I'm in this one. And I'd be like, did I meet you already? Like, have we had this conversation? Because I feel like it's exactly the conversation I had with that other guy 5 minutes ago. Were we talking 5 minutes ago? And he'd be like, no. I'd be like, oh, okay, all right. And like I literally couldn't tell these fuckers apart.
Yeah.
Didn't help that it was Ohio. And
oh God, I forget it was in Ohio.
And like literally they were all carbon copies of each other.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You've lived in like so many states.
Oh yeah.
You survived the Catholic Church. Some of the crazy story. What was that story you were telling me about Blake's mom the other day tell the story, please. It's the funniest, stupidest, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
So like we were just talking about like weird rules that our parents had when we were growing up. And I was talking about one of my friends who his mom had a very specific rule that he was only allowed to watch sex scenes in movies if the characters were married.
Which is the stupidest rule.
And if they weren't married, he wasn't allowed to watch. And so she would like, one time he was watching The Matrix Reloaded. And
I'm dead. I fucking can't.
And that movie opens up with like an orgy and then and it keeps cutting back and forth from like the rave orgy to Neo and Trinity having sex. And his mom walked into the room on like one of the shots where Neo and Trinity were having sex. And she just gasped for a second and was like, "Are they married?" And he was just like, yes, absolutely, they're married. And she was like, "Okay then," and then left.
It's the stupidest story you've ever told me. I can't believe, like, what? Yeah, it's a married orgy. Everyone is married, so it's fine.
They're only having sex with the one they're married to. And
they went down to the chapel in Vegas, and Elvis married all of them right before this scene.
In an underground future society where there's no such thing as buildings anymore.
It's so stupid. Or like, just, I don't know, there's just like, you have so many more interesting stories about your life than just the fact that you're trans. You know what I mean?
That's true. And I slip them into the podcast every week.
Yep.
So
there's a lot of them.
If you watch long enough, you'll be like, "Oh wait, what's that? What? You fucking built igloos?" And, okay, that's cool.
We should do an episode about your experience in the first like year that I knew. The first year that I knew you, anytime you would bring up like a frat story, I'd kind of a second of like, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You lived a very different life previously, and you were in a frat.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me.
Because you met me after I started transitioning. Like, you met me when I had already been on hormones for a year. And so you just never knew the person I was pretending to be for the first 30 years of my life. You've just known me in the
I've always just known Chloe. That's all I've known. So it's like, it's weird too, because like, it's funny because like, I'm a pretty like manly lady. I wouldn't have even like survived a frat.
I barely did, you know.
Yeah, I don't know how you did it. I don't think I could even pull it off, and I feel like I would have had a better chance.
I basically ignored the frat. Like, once I met the one other guy in it who played Magic.
That helps, but you still deal with Chad and Brad and whoever the fuck else.
Yeah, but I like ignored them. They were in a different, like, there was the frat house, which was across the street from the house that my friend who played Magic lived in. And so I spent all my time at his house. And he lived with two guys who weren't in the frat. And so we all hung out and played Magic and like watched Star Wars and watched stand-up comedy specials and got drunk and ignored the frat almost entirely.
So you didn't have to be like
I had to like go to certain events. Like I had to, you know, we did a
for
thing.
Like hazing or whatever the fuck they do.
I mean, we did do the hazing. We didn't do a lot of hazing. We did a little bit of hazing. Yeah, whatever. We'll do an episode on it because this is our podcast title episode.
Yeah.
And we have to get to what we're actually recording tonight. So we should probably wrap it up.
Yes, we shall wrap it up.
Anything else we want to say about the title of the podcast?
Yeah, I think we did. I just want people to... If they have an issue with it, I can just be like, we have an episode. I think that was the cat. I don't know.
It was the cat.
The animals are freaking out.
Anyway, final note. If you think I am the trans, you're transphobic, not me.
Yeah. Because we are both ladies.
Anyway.
Yeah. That's
thanks for watching.
Now I have somewhere to direct people if they complain online to me. I'll be like, my best friend came up with the name.
Just literally reply with a link to this video.
Yeah. 1,000,000%.
Ta-da!
Ta-da.
All right. We love you.
Toodles.
Probably. Maybe.
We
Send
love
us an
you.
email. LadyandTheTransPodcast@gmail.com.
Lady in the Trans Podcast.
Hire me as a tutor if you have kids who need to learn math and stuff.
Yes, if you need help with math,
I got you covered.
She likes doing math.
Yeah.
She's a geek about it.
I'm super great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bye.
Lady and the Trans Podcast. Where we believe in science. We don't believe in